this is the part of the service where we normally have a message. We're going to have a homily, which is a short message. And unfortunately, I've been tapped on the shoulder to deliver this for you this morning. We've been doing a series in our church through the Gospel of John chapter 1. And today, on Christmas Day, we come to John chapter 1, verse 14, which reads, if you remember from earlier this morning, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." It's quite appropriate to come to Christmas Day thinking of that verse. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. It's got me thinking about something that is very much associated with Christmas. How many of you have travelled to Canada? Yep, lots of people have travelled to Canada, and I can attest you'll just have to take my word for it, that there are a whole lot of people who normally come to this church who aren't here today, and they're not here because they have travelled. They have travelled. They've gone home. They've gone home for Christmas. And that home might be, I don't know, sometimes you go to the home of your parents, because that's where home is. And then as parents get older, maybe they come to your home. But there's always a place where people gather at Christmas that they consider their home. Everyone needs a home. And if we think about all the readings that Karen so beautifully read this morning, if you listen carefully, there's a lot of home language in there, isn't there? People travelling home to Bethlehem. All of the joy that arose in Elizabeth's home at the news of the birth of a child. Home is at the heart of Christmas. And yet, for some people, that's actually a time of a bit of conflict and turmoil if they don't have a happy, safe home to go to. It can be a sad place. I was listening to a podcast just this morning that said that there's a rise of stomach upsets in people who have to go to their in-laws' home rather than their own parents' home. Like that, someone has actually gone and taken swabs and measured the bacteria that are in people's stomach, depending on which home they go to on Christmas Day. And if it's not your home, your true home, then not as well, then not as healthy, they're upset. So there is stress associated with homes. And homes are actually getting small. Have you noticed that? You might not notice that. You might be in a big home with lots of rooms, because homes physically have gotten bigger. But in Australia and in the Western world, homes are actually getting smaller. There are fewer people in homes than there used to be. Japan is at the vanguard of this. There's an epidemic of loneliness. There's a minister for loneliness in Japan. And we're only 10, 15 years behind that. If you drive around one day and those that visited, you would have come in and you would have seen all of these new estates going up with new homes. Did you see all those new homes? Do you realise that one of our population hasn't grown in 30 years? So And who's in those new homes? Well, probably just a picture of the fact that homes generally hold fewer and fewer people. And that's hazardous. That's hazardous to our health. That's hazardous to society to have smaller and smaller homes. And then we come to Christmas Day and we see Jesus family travelling to their hometown for a census and giving birth and emphasised that there was no room in any home in Bethlehem for them. When we read John 1, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us, made his home among us. The Greek word literally is tabernacle, which is tent amongst us. God set up home on earth. That's the gospel message. That's the good news. Because for all of those homes that are getting smaller and might be a little bit more stressful, and for all of those homes that are, I can't relate my hips. We have a regular pastor who's not here today, and he has a habit when he preaches of teaching us new words. Not new English words, that would be useful. He teaches us new Greek words. And the Greek word that captures why I think God came down to dwell with us is a word that I've heard recently. It's a made-up Greek word. It's not even a real Greek word, so I'm not going to step on people's toes by teaching you a Greek word. This is a word that doesn't exist. And the word, I think, is dysphoikos. Dysphoikos. New Greek word. Oikos means home. And dis as in dysfunctional. And if you think about, I'm sure each of us can think about families today that might be suffering from a little bit of dysphoikos. Just unhappiness on this day. But there is good news on this day. For Jesus came down to fix that dysfunction. He came down to make his dwelling with us. Amongst all of this dysfunction, and if you hear the Christmas story well, there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of displacement. There was a lot of discourse in that first Christmas story. And yet God came down and dwelt among us. And he took on flesh. It's interesting that the Bible doesn't say he took on being human. He took on flesh. Dysfunction. And dwelt among us. And that's the good news. That's the message of home. Now, a couple of days ago, 2 Sundays ago, we sang that wonderful Christmas carol. I don't know if you've heard it before. I think it's But I'm an Angel. But remember with that Christmas carol? Yeah, But I'm an Angel. It's like a really old one. But But I'm an Angel is a very interesting Christmas carol. Whenever I sing it, I always have a little bit of dysfunction, this oikos when I get that. You know that line in the thing? I can't imagine that picture of the Lord Jesus asleep on the baby awakes, that little Lord Jesus, crying when he wakes. What kind of baby is that? There's heresy in that hymn. Heresy. What kind of baby doesn't wake up and immediately cry? So I think that's one of the first little minor errors in the way of an angel. But as I was thinking it through and kind of blurring that line or something. I've had 2 babies and they certainly cry. We got to the last line and I thought, wow, that's really wrong, that last line. Can you know the last line? You're speaking here, I'm trying to. It's probably why I don't know people find that through that and see it's happening through people's heads. See, even I was in the last line, I tried at the hymn during the last hymn. The last line is, bless all the dear children inviting the care, and give us for heaven to live with thee there. And I'm thinking, I don't think that's right. That's not the Christian hope. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. God came down to dwell among us. And yes, He came to lift us up and make us able to live with Him. He came to make a home. But that home is on earth. That home is on earth. And that's the Christian hope, that there is no more this oikos on the earth. God came down to sort it out and to make a home that isn't broken, but is joyful and peaceful and righteous and holy with God. That's what I think of when I ponder that simple verse. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Let's pray. Lord, would you pray for those that might be facing Christmas Day with a bit of trepidation and may to live on a little bit of a tongue lesson. And we pray that your peace will rest upon those homes, that your blessing will flow, and that people will understand and know that you came down to dwell amongst us, to make us a people of your very own. We thank you and praise you. Amen. So guys, I sing one last hymn. Before we sing it, someone's here. I'm going to read. The poem has just skipping that part sitting there. From John 8, verse 12. When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light